Hello my friend, I'm Bella and this is my little corner of YouTube world that I call Beauty and Beyond. A big welcome to you. Now I've got a tag for you today, and it's a tag that I saw Monika doing, our lovely Monika McKillicuddy. And I had to do it. I just had to do it. I thought it was a really great tag, and it was started, I believe, by our lovely Mary from Glitzy Fritzy. I've watched both of them. I've watched both of them a couple of times, and I so enjoyed the videos. I thought, I've got to do it, you know. And commented to Monika that I'd like to do it, and she said, you know, you go for it. So, my video and my thoughts on my first time. Now then, I've got the questions down here because I've got Monika's video up. So, the first time, my first time. Number one, do you still talk to your first love? I haven't seen him for years and years. I was with him from the time I was about 15. For a little while, but you know, it was very young love. His name was Jim, and it was years and years ago, and I haven't seen him for years, literally years. So no, I don't know if I'd recognise him if I saw him, to be honest with you. Number two, what was your first job? My first job, the first thing I was paid for, is I had a weekend and holiday job in a shoe shop called Freeman, Hardy and Willis. I don't believe they're about anymore. And I worked there on a Saturday, and I worked there weekends. It was, as I said, it was a shoe shop, and it was fun. It was nice. You know, there was other Saturday crews, and I was very young. And it certainly was never going to be my permanent position, but it was fun, and when I was at college it gave me my pocket money, you know. Number three, what was your first car? I don't drive, so I didn't have a first car. Number four, who was the first person you text today? The first person I text today was my son-in-law, because we're doing a family Zoom tonight. We're all meeting up on a family Zoom, just our family, and I just wanted to confirm the times and so forth. So the first person I texted this morning was my son-in-law. Number five, who was the first person you thought of this morning? The radio, the radio presenter, because I wanted to listen to the news, with everything that's going on here. I wanted to listen to the news, and I looked and I thought, I wonder if Nick's on yet. This is who I listen to. I listen to LBC radio. And I thought, I wonder if Nick's on yet. Quickly, I put beside my bed, I put my my radio on. So, yes, it was Nick Ferrari who was a radio presenter. Number six, who was your first grade teacher? His name was Mr. Hamlin, and he belonged to the opera workshop, so music was his main thing, although he was a marvellous teacher. He was the best teacher I ever had, I would say, all through my school. He would give so much confidence, and he would speak about what's right and wrong. I mean, obviously we had our ordinary lessons, but he would teach us about what's right and wrong, you know, and morals and scruples. And he got, at the end of his class, I was with him a couple of years, he got the children in such a way that if he said, right, who was that talking, the person who was talking would stand up. Because he taught so much over those years about honesty and truthfulness and not hiding behind other people. And he really made an impact on me. I mean, yes, he was a great teacher as well. Not that I'm the best academic in the world, I never have been. But he was what he taught always has stayed with me, because I've never seen that. You go in the class, right, who's talking, and nobody says anything to them. They all deny it emphatically. But you get up. Yes, it was me. And because, yes, you had to take, whatever punishment it was, or in the school and so forth. Maybe you'd have to go outside the classroom for a while, or whatever it was, go to the head, or... But he gained that much respect from the class that, they'd be that honest, because he taught the importance of honesty, and he stayed with me. All these years later, he stayed with me. So yes, Mr. Hamlin. Where did you go on your first aeroplane ride? Greece. I went to Greece. So number 8, who was your best friend at school, and are you still in touch with them now? Yes, I am. Her name's Daphne, and I met her the first day I started primary school at 5 years old. We were inseparable. We went everywhere together. We did everything together. She'd stay over home, and weekends together, and we were always together, and that went on. And my first marriage, she was my maid of honour at my first marriage, and we lost touch somehow through life. She had a family, and I was the godmother of her eldest daughter. And then life we both moved on different places and lost touch. And I can't believe we lost touch after, we knew each other so well. But we did lose touch. And I wondered, a good few years ago now, when sort of Facebook became popular, I thought, I wonder if I could find her on there. I just wonder if I could find her. So I did a search, and I found her. And when I wrote to her, I'm going back now about 6 years, 7 years. When I wrote to her, she couldn't believe it. She said, the amount of times that I would have loved to found you. I'm so happy, we found each other. And yes, and we're friends again now. So, and it's just the same. And it's not like all those years have gone by that I haven't seen her. Because true friendship is like that, isn't it? You meet up again, and it doesn't matter how long you haven't seen each other. You just go where you left off. And it's certainly like that with Dee and me. So, yeah. I'm still friends with my first friend at school. Number 9. Where was your first sleepover? Now, I've really got to think about this one. If we're talked about sleeping away from home, away from, your family, and probably church brownies group, I would say that was the first time that I slept away from home. Just, the troop that were in our church, we went away for a couple of days together, and well supervised, but if you're classing that as the first time away from home, yes it was. I was 13, I was in the guides and with the church, and that was the first time I stayed away from home. Number 10, who is the first person you talked to today? You. Obviously the first person I speak to in life is Baz, but he's not up yet. So, it's still quite early in the morning. So the first person I spoke today was you. Number 11, whose wedding were you in for the first time? I remember that because I was about 6. And the people that lived next door to my mum, their son was getting married, and his name was Bruce, and he married a girl called Elaine. And when you're 6, 7, you've got this. She was about the time, I don't remember, it was the 60s, and she had, very early 60s, and she had the dresses and the 60s look and, you know, the fashion, and I was in awe of her. And she was such a lovely lady. She was a lovely girl. She really was. I have no idea where they are now. But I remember because, you know, that I didn't come from a very sort of happy home. But I remember being in my bedroom and looking out the bedroom window. I guess I was about 7. Looking out my bedroom window, and my eyes drew down, and Elaine and Bruce, it was just before they married, were in the garden, and they were sitting in the garden, and he was looking at her, and even how young I was, I'd never seen that. I'd never seen that sort of look. For each other, or, you know, and it wasn't soppy, it wasn't silly, it wasn't mushy, it was absolute love. You could see it, and, you know, adoration. And I remember looking down at them and thinking, I want that when I'm older. That's what I want, that, you know, it's with the comparison. And yeah, I remember that feeling. And their wedding was the first wedding I ever went to. First thing you did this morning? Well, other than going to the loo, it would be putting the kettle on to make my morning coffee, otherwise I'm not fit for life. Number 13 is, what was the first concert you ever went to? I went to Wembley Arena, the old Wembley Arena, which is knocked down now. And Davy Jones and the Monkees came over from America, and oh my goodness, it was, I thought I was going to pass out. I was such a huge Monkees fan, as so many of us were, you know, because everyone wanted to go. It was, I would have been 12 years old, 12, 13, and I absolutely thought, you know, he was the one. There was nobody else, he was the one. When he saw me, and I was a bit older, that was it. Oh, my goodness, yeah. The first concert I ever went to was at Wembley, and it was the Monkees. First broken bone. I've never actually broken any bones. I've come near to it many times. I've come near to it, but I've never actually ever had a broken bone that I can remember, that I can think of. I think I'd know, wouldn't I? No. Many times I thought my bones are broken, many times, but no, you know, the pain and everything, but no, I haven't actually physically sort of been told your bones are broken, never. First piercing, I've only ever had one piercing, and it's my ears. And I had those done when I was 18 years old, because my mum said, no, I don't like piercings. So as soon as I was 18 and I could do it, I went and had those done. I think it was the day, either my birthday or the day after. But I've only got one piercing, it's just my ears. Number 16, first foreign country you went to would be France. France was the first one, and then I went on to Spain, and then on to Belgium. It was a, you know, youth place. I stayed in youth hostels, and we travelled about when I was before I went into college. So yes, France was the first place. Movie you remember seeing in the theatre? I remember it quite clearly. It had an impact on me then, and it still has. I think it's a marvellous film with a marvellous meaning. And it starred Sidney Poitier, who was a wonderful actor, American actor, and I really, really admire him so much. He passed away earlier this year, and be a big loss, because he was a wonderful actor. And he was in a film called A Patch of Blue. It was a black and white film. That's how old it was, black and white film. And it was about a sort of middle-class gentleman who had good status and good job, you know, comfortable life. And he meets this girl in the park, and she's blind. He comes across her, I think I can't remember exactly, I'm going to try and look the film up. And if I can look it up, if I can find it, I'll link it for you. I don't know if I'll be able to find it now, but I'd love to watch it again. Actually, he meets this girl in this park, and her name's Selena, and she, as I said, she's blind, and she's just sitting eating crackers. And he stops and he talks to her, because either she walks into him, or I can't remember that part how they actually meet. But she's sitting eating these crackers, and she's very poor, and she's treated terribly at home, and her mother's a prostitute, and she's put out of the house when her, or put in another room when her mother has clients in, and very, very sad life. But very nice girl through all that, and she knows that the life she leads is wrong. She knows that her mother's wrong, and she wants something more for her life, but she can't see, she's blind, so, her mother just tosses her to one side and says how useless she is. She has to do everything indoors, all the cooking, everything, even though she's blind. And he sees this in her, he sees this side in her. And when the mother sees them out, she sees them, they go to the library, museums and places like that, and he takes her to places of culture, because she is lovely. And the mother sees them out. And when she gets home, that evening she gets indoors, the mother says, who the heck are you with? Who the heck are you? What are you doing with him? And abuses him, because of his race. And she didn't know that. She never knew that. And the next time they meet, they really get fond of each other, and they grow to love each other. And you'd never put them together. Never in a million years would you think these two people are together, but they're both such good people. And he's in the park, he's never told her. And, they declare how they feel about one another. And he sends her off to college. He pays for her to go away. He says, we'll be together, we will be together, but I want you to have this first. I want you to have the education you deserve. I want you to have, And he said he gets college for her and takes her out of the mother's awful house. And when just as she's going to leave, he says, before you leave, before we make that final decision, he said, there's something I've got to tell you. Tell you about myself. She said, I don't need to know anything about you. I know everything I need to know about you. And he says, no, I must tell you this. She says, no. She said, I know everything I need to know about you. She said, I know you're good. I know you're kind. I know you're black, and I think you're wonderful. And he just cries, and I cry, even thinking about it. I just think it's the most marvellous film, and it had such an impact on me. And it's just wonderful, and the moral behind it is wonderful, wonderful. And yes, so Patch of Blue, I definitely recommend it. Now I've told you and ruined the story. Okay, number 18. When was your first detention? And I remember this. I remember this as if it was yesterday. Where I lived in East London, I lived near the docks. Now, they were working docks then, they're not now. It's built up and it's a very affluent area, but it was working docks then. And where I went to school, it was a large school and it covered a big area. So some of the children would have to come in by bus. And what would happen is some mornings at school, on school gates, you had a prefect with a book. And if you were late, they put in the book why you were late. And if so many times you were late, obviously you had to go to the head. Well, the people that lived the other side, we didn't have to do that. We didn't have to, we said late, but when we said bridge, and I'll tell you why we said bridge. Between where they come from on the bus and the school, the river would run through and the boats would go through to the docks. So the bridge would come up and stop the bus. So that was classed, that was a cover. You could have a cover, you know, if the bridge went up, because obviously you're going to be late because the bus is late, because it's held up. So that was a legitimate reason for being late. So it was about 7 months, I think, that if I got in late, I would say bridge, you know, bridge fine, put bridge down. And that was it. It was about 7 or 8 months later that they realised I only lived 2 streets away from the school. I just done all the others saying bridge, and I thought I'd get away with it too. So I was called into the office. We've got a lot of bridges here for you. You only live over there. Oh dear me, yes. I got detention for that. Teen, who was your first roommate? That would be Anne. Anne was at the same university as me. We had the same digs. So that would be Anne. Number 20. What was the first lesson you ever took? Now, is this a school lesson or life lesson? I would say I can't remember the first lesson in school, because obviously it's a long way ago, and I can't remember. It would have been in infant school, so it would be either art or, you know, phonetics or something easy, because it would have been when I was very, very young. The first lesson in life would be to, you know, trust God's word and not my own. And finally, 21. Who was the first beauty-related person you watched on YouTube? Do you know, I can't remember the first. I can't remember the first, but I certainly know the first that had impact, that made me think. And that's Kaz. Her channel was called Chucky Kaz. She's called Kaz something else now. I will link her channel below. And she's just a housewife. She still does YouTube, still loves it. And we've met up since. And she's one of my dearest friends on YouTube. She was just an ordinary housewife, and wanting to make the best of herself, and, you know, wanting to be special, but not having lots of money, and, you know, I just related to her. And she's so kind. She's such a kind person. And I just warmed to her personality. I warmed to the fact that I could relate to her very much. And she was the first person I ever subscribed to. So yeah, Kaz. And I'll put Kaz's channel below. Go over and see her. She's lovely. You'll love her. So that's it. Thank you, Mary, for making this wonderful tag. I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of doing it. I enjoyed your video very, very much, and how you went back and showed me how you'd done it 6 years ago. I thought that was great. And Monika, I loved your video. You've got to see these ladies' videos. I'll link them both below. And when I saw Monika do it, I thought, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And I think it's a really good tag, and it's different, isn't it? It's something a little bit different. And, you know, my first time, when you saw the thumbnail, what did you think I was going to tell you? Oh, no. So that's all from my channel today. I urge anybody to do this. Anybody to do this, because I think it's a fantastic tag. And you'll have fun doing it, and it's, yeah, it's good, it's good. I love fun things. So I'll be back really soon with my next video. Please take great care of yourselves. Thank you so much for watching my channel, guys. And if you so like it that you would like to give me a thumbs up, or support my channel by subscribing, it would help me so much. It would help me so much. So please consider it, but only if you like my videos. I'll see you again real soon. Take care and be good. Bye.